I know him quite well. I see him quite a bit. But I'm afraid on this issue, he is so fatally ill-advised that he would make a most terrible mess as president, because he would buy into all this garbage, and because the Republicans in Congress tend to be loyal to their president, they would vote for this garbage too. You need to have a president in the White House who simply says boo to all this environmental nonsense, draw a line under it, enough is enough.
But as you said,
from the working classes.
What is your estimate? Because I've seen variants from different groups, but is it not in the tens of billions what has been spent selling the lie of man-made global warming?
Oh, no, we're in the hundreds of billions now. I mean, 80 billion has been spent by the United States alone on this. Europe has probably spent another 40 billion. I mean, we're looking very, very serious amounts of money, taxpayers' money, at a time when these governments are all bust anyway. This is the extraordinary thing. They go on and on squandering cash on this enviro garbage.
Well, that's because it's the global government religion. That's why Romney and that's why Gingrich support it, and that's why they're endorsed by the Republican rhinos, is because this is what the ruling class wants, to be able to shut down any competition that isn't part of their little inner coterie. And then meanwhile, it covers up for real environmental concerns that are going on. Instead, they run around chasing phantoms of carbon dioxide. This was completely manufactured. But in closing, Ron Paul is winning in Iowa, winning in other states. And so for the first time, the governor and others have reportedly, according to Politico, come out and said, if you vote for Ron Paul, because it's an old-fashioned, vote in the counties, in these groups, that it discredits it. Is that not an attack on the electoral process to say, vote for him, and you discredit Iowa and our electoral system? Oh,
what they're doing there is they're saying that you, the people, no longer have the right to decide anything. We will tell you what is good for you. Now, that's not what the founding fathers of your Constitution wanted. They wanted to make sure that every man had his vote, and that vote would decide the kind of government you got and the kind of president you got. And if people want to vote for Ron Paul, that is their choice, and they should have the absolute right to exercise it, and nobody should come along and say that this would be an abuse of the electoral process. Of course it isn't. It is your right to vote for who you want to vote for, and if Ron Paul is the one person currently front-running who isn't buying into all this enviro garbage, then he's the one you should vote for. I don't think it's worth voting for Gingrich or for that Mormon fellow Romney while they continue to buy this, drink the environmental Kool-Aid. Once they come off the Kool-Aid, different matter. But while they're on it, then these are people who essentially are haters of America. There's no other way of putting it. These are people who want to destroy your democracy, destroy your Constitution, and take away, in doing so, your democracy, your right to choose for yourselves what laws shall be made for you and what taxes shall be imposed upon you. These people would hand all that away to the unelected bureaucrats of the UN and, of course, as you rightly say, the big banks who are very close in with the UN. It's all a nice little cozy arrangement together with the ordinary people coming nowhere. And that is what's got to change. And if Ron Paul is the spokesman for that, then Ron Paul is the person you vote for.
Well, I mean, here's another example. Here's Christian Science Monitor. Now polls are coming out showing Ron Paul in the lead in the next key state, New Hampshire. The system is going to go completely crazy because they tried to destroy his son with a bunch of dirty tricks in Kentucky. In the Senate race last year, it didn't work. I know you've been at the end of a lot of dirty tricks. We've got to certainly pray for Ron Paul, pray for you, of course, and everybody else that is standing up against these people. But I think the big mega banks and the UN crowd have bitten off more than they can chew, and the sleeping giant that is the free people of the West is beginning to rise, and I'm seeing fear in them.
I think they are now frightened of the people, and that's why they're so desperate to ram this power grab through quickly before the people have quite spotted what's going on. You see, there'll be a lot of well-meaning people who buy into this environmental stuff because, rightly, they say we want to exercise a sensible stewardship of the planet. We don't want to make an undue mess of it. And therefore, they're predisposed, if you like, to believe anything that's told to them in that direction. But now a lot of ordinary voters have, there's a kind of common sense in ordinary voters. That's the whole Constitution is built on the idea that the voters have a common sense that the governing class doesn't have. And so the voters are going to have to really assert themselves at this coming election. They're going to have to turn Obama out of the White House. I'm sorry if I'm straying into your politics a bit here, but he is very bad news for democracy.
Are you kidding? He's a globalist throwing himself around the world. You got every right to say get rid of Obama. Well, listen, Lord Monckton, thank you so much for the time, and people should find out more about the UK Independence Party and all the great work you're doing, and say hi to Nigel Farage, who's certainly leading a great charge exposing the kleptocratic Eurocrats. Thank you so much, and have a great Christmas.
Real pleasure. God bless you. Happy Christmas, everyone, and God bless America.
God bless you, sir. God bless the UK and all the free people there as well. We're going to defeat this ruling class if we fully awaken to them. Wow. News Blitz straight ahead. Then Hoppy Heidelberg. It's all coming up. Stay with us. Okay, let's go into some of the news. This is the type of stuff coming out right now. This is out of Christian Science Monitor. What if Ron Paul wins Iowa and New Hampshire, too? And then it gets into the fact that more and more he's going into first place in Iowa and New Hampshire, and the system's completely panicking. So the different politicos in Iowa are quoted in Politico saying that he's going to ruin the state and, ruin their record and discredit their caucus, their people voting on who Republican voters have sent to the caucus to represent them. The people get together in the Republican Party, they vote, they send their people to their caucus. In their little towns, they all vote with their hands, they count it all up. But now the feds are coming into town to oversee because the anonymous threatened to hack it. All you need is a public tallying. They're going to have trouble, though, because each caucus will be able to look at their numbers. And so there's no telling what the establishment's going to do. But Ron Paul does need a lot of security. If they see him really building and know that he's going to create so much attention to liberty during the campaign, even if they plan on trying to steal elections with a general computerized vote later, they could pull something, even though it's incredibly obvious with a lone nut who's let out of some government psychiatric facility just to try to shut this down. But they also know that could cause a revolution. Any way you slice it, resistance is victory. As long as Ron Paul's ready to be torn apart in the media and even physically attacked. And he is. He's in the arena. He's a champion. He's a champion. I was watching some Morton Downey Jr. clips I'd seen a year ago of him, Ron Paul, back in the 80s on there with all these idiots yelling at him and how Ron Paul was jumping out of his seat and yelling at him back when he was younger. I guess Ron Paul's a little more like Alex Jones than we thought. But we're going to put a compilation of that stuff together soon and do a special piece on it. All right, I'm spending too much time on the Ron Paul thing. I already covered it in the first hour. It's just, will Ron Paul kill the caucuses? You heard Monckton. I mean, that is pure arrogance by the system saying, we decide how you vote. If you do vote for him, the governor reportedly says, then ignore the vote. I mean, think of the arrogance. Ignore my state. And look at the second runner-up, which will be Mitt Romney, who the newspapers and the globalists are endorsing. Mr. Carbon Tax. I mean, think of that arrogance. If Ron Paul wins, ignore our state. Ron Paul is discrediting our state, which is saying our voters are bad. I mean, what an arrogant blob. And, of course, he's launched his salvo. They'll try to deny it now and play politics. Again, just like I said, the NDAA doesn't have secret arrest for citizens in it. And now that it's passed, oh, yeah, it does. What's wrong with that? Military will be dropping by real quick now. And again, at Waco, it worked. It's not an assault. Come out with your hands up. You walk out, you get shot, and they say, it's all right. More of you come out. They walk out, shoot them. Some of them won't come out. Send in special forces, plant a bomb on top of the building, on top of the church records vault, kill them. All on record, how they killed them, how they did it. The whole time, not an assault, not an assault. People want to believe it's not an assault. Okay, I'll come out. Oh, good. Come on out. Come on out. This is not an attack. Don't run. We are your friends. Oh, my gosh, it is amazing. But don't worry, the Iowa GOP is worried about hacker threat to caucuses. And there's a worst-case scenario. Investigators don't know what the threat is, authentic, but has nonetheless led the state party to confront worst-case scenarios. Their fear, an Iowa caucus marked by hackers who corrupt the database used to gather votes and crash the website used to inform the public about results that could shape the campaign for the White House. Oh, so see, then hackers attack. So Ron Paul won, but we're not sure. It's all confused. And they'll count on you not knowing that each county has the tally by hand vote, and then anybody with a calculator could sit there and do the number. It's like, oh, we got the tabulations. Now we've got to have experts because the hackers hit it. Oh, the dirty people wearing Guy Fawkes mask. Oh, my gosh. Oh, it's terrible. I mean, you can see what they're doing. Remember, they launched Stuxnet, Israel and the U.S. did on Iran. And I said, watch, they're going to blame the freedom of the internet on it, even though the government admits they launched it. And sure enough, they're in the news. We've got to have cybersecurity and the NDAA and get rid of freedom online and have the Pentagon patrolling the internet, shutting down whoever they want offensively, preemptively, because of Stuxnet. And they think you're morons. The government admits they launched it in conjunction with Israel, but they got to start shutting down our freedom because the government launched Stuxnet. But they don't mention in the new articles that, yeah, Stuxnet going around the world. We've got to shut down your freedom because of Stuxnet. Sorry about that. Oh, by the way, I haven't even gotten to this yet. Remember, we got the subcontractor for the FEMA camps being activated. Now we have the government general contract.
We're on the march.
Welcome back. We're now at the midway point, the point of no return here on this live transmission.
From deep in the heart of FEMA Region 6, Austin, Texas.
That's right.
Transmitting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Hoppy Heidelberg, the head federal grand juror on the Oklahoma City bombing case, is going to be joining us via video Skype from Oklahoma here in just a moment with one of the producers of the film, A Noble Lie, Oklahoma City, 1995. We're going to introduce him here in just a moment. Some of the other news that I didn't get to here is Homeland Security moves to man FEMA camps. We were sent the internal Halliburton KBR master contractor offer to prepare emergency camps across the country for political, economic, or environmental reasons within 72 hours, how to lock them down, the barbed wire, the systems, the government orders for the Army to hire more internment specialists, all of that. But no media picked it up. And a lot of what we cover does get picked up every day by newspapers across the country. I mean, Infowars.com, our reports, our analysis, our guests are in newspapers every day. This morning I typed Infowars.com in, and we were in the San Jose Mercury News, Reuters, Bloomberg, but not this subject. You cannot get this on the air because they do not want you knowing about COG. Jesse Ventura's TV show that I advised on the FEMA camps got shut down after it aired one time. And Congress and Homeland Security threatened Time Warner. And then they threatened their subsidiary, True TV, because we documented the threat fusion centers, the FEMA camps, the spy grids, the End of Posse Comitatus. They had a former FBI agent in there blowing the whistle.